right, we're here. We're here, just checking on everybody. All right, let's get to it. Let me just tag starting and all stream is up. All right, let's get it. All right, let me go to that league actually. All right, here we go. A draft room. We got greens on all. I know Cricket Life's been in there. Good luck, everybody. Oh, I gotta mute that. Where are we at? All right, first off the board, Lamar Jackson. Flip flop between him, Allen, and Chase. Not bad. All right, Burrow at the 1-3. People hitting the super flex heavy. All right, so Jackson, Allen, and Burrow. Jamar's looking like the steal over there. King of Kongs on the clock at 10, the 1-4. Takes Jamar. Good value for Jamar. Um, that's solid. All right, now on the board, we got Crick Life Art at the 1-5. He's been in a few of them. So see what he's got. 10 seconds is what he's got. Maybe Daniels, probably Bijan. I'd go with Bijan. He goes with Daniels. Can't go wrong either way. It don't matter. Depends on the build. You can't really go wrong the first couple rounds, obviously. But I like doing is you see the way the teams build. Usually by the third, fourth round, you see the direction that the players are going. Bijan went at the 1-6, pitter patter. Solid, 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 solid. Probably gonna do another Bijan jersey soon. I know we did two already, but a couple people have been asking about Bijan. So plus, I like the value on his jersey. Good price. Gibbs at the 1-7. After Gibbs, what do we got at the 1-8? Justin Jefferson's there. CD Lamb, that's the pick I would have made there at the 1-8. Definitely, I'm taking CD over Jefferson all day. Maybe I would have took Barkley too, either or. Jefferson at the 1-9. I probably would have took Barkley over him. But either way, it don't matter. Barkley at the 110 to Sid. Hurts after that at the 111. Maybe Bowers here. Grab that elite tight end. You got Bowers, Genty, Neighbors. Genty's off the board. I'd probably go Bowers or Amon Ra if it was me. But I ain't no professional. I'm just a guy talking on league. See what happens. A lot of new guys in this league that I haven't seen draft yet. So it's gonna be definitely interesting. About half the league I've been in a couple drafts with. So all right, so Genty Bowers can't go wrong with that little correlation there. Nice. Definitely. And the Collins Hurd combination for Randall. Now we got Sid on the clock, fresh off that Barkley pick. Uh, Fresh off that Barkley pick, he goes Neighbors. Not bad. Neighbors is always a plus. Trey McBride at the 2-4. Fresh off that CD Lamb pick. What do we got here at the 2-5? Amon Ra. CD and Amon Ra is nice. Yeah, Neighbors almost fell. You solid with McBride, though. Can't go wrong with that. All right, everybody make sure you like, share, subscribe, whatever. Whatever gets this going. Copy. I'm going to paste it in the board again. All right, so after that Brown pick, you got Brian Thomas and Puka. Brian paired up with Gibbs is solid. Puka paired up with Bijan is really good too. McCaffrey off the board at the 2-8. King of Kongs, fresh off that Chase pick. Maybe a Henry right now. Achian, grab that running back. Unless you want, I wouldn't reach for core. I wouldn't even go Mahomes here. But it's up to you. You know, three wide receiver, two running back, one QB. Achian, perfect pick. Yep. Either Achian or Henry. You lock yourself with that great RB1 to be with the number one position player, pretty much. After Achian was London, so you got that Burrow London combo. See how it goes. All right, there goes Henry off the board to pair up with Josh Allen. Solid. Getting that QB and then that RB1 is pretty good. But making sure you grab that RB in the second round, beginning of the third is clutch, I feel like, in these best balls. I'm big on hero RB, so I'm taking Achian, Henry, Jacobs, somebody like that. There you go, Jacobs off the board there, the 3-1. And then I'm gonna take, especially in best ball, I'll take later running backs. But we'll see how it goes. All right, AJ Brown off the board at the 3-2. Oh yeah, and J Mart made the draft. There we go. He said he was putting his kids to sleep, but he made the draft. All right. Not a bad pick. Garrett Wilson at the 3-3. Should be a target monster. So London Wilson, two alpha receivers on that team. I can still see Atlanta bringing in like Amari Cooper or somebody like that, though. But we'll see. Fresh off that HEM pick, he goes Lad McConkey. Lad's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. So we had three QBs right away, then Daniels. So four QBs in the first five picks. Hurts at the end of the first round, and then not a QB since. So we'll see. This was a Warren Moon jersey, $13 league, autograph jersey, obviously throwback. The oil is one of the sickest jerseys. Um, and yep, nice and easy, $13 league, nothing that breaks the bank. All right, carry on Williams after that. Williams McCaffrey, that's a good one too at the running back position. You don't see a lot of people do that. But I like that. It's not bad. Hampton off the board to pitter patter. Pairs him up with Bijan as the two RBs and Puka as his wide receiver one, which is solid. Does he go Jonathan Taylor here? Maybe a JSN kind of pick. Mahomes off the board at the 3-7. He hung out there, the first QB off the board in a round and a half. All right. So what's going on? Where's everybody checking in from? If you guys that are watching this, if you're in this draft, comment. Let me know what team you are because I'm not even. I see that there's people watching, but I'm not 100% sure who's watching. So let me know if you got a team in this league. All right. So Evans, that's solid. That's CD Lamb, Amon Ra, and a Mike Evans. That's nice. Uh, I like that Baker pick too. Baker's solid to pair up with McBride. I'm not huge with Jefferson, but we'll see how it goes. Kittle off the board at the 3-10. Uh, grab your solid tight end there. Yeah, you're tuning in. Yeah, I'm not that high on Jefferson. He was the top receiver for me that I would have picked there. I guess if I wanted to go wide receiver, I probably would have just picked Barkley over him. But either way, you can't really go wrong. Now that Lamb is going ahead of Jefferson in a lot of leagues, yeah, it's a little different than it was a month ago. But JSN off the board, Brown off the board after that. Yeah, not a lot of shares. I do have Jefferson, and uh, I've tried to do different builds, like in little best balls. I'll take Jefferson, and then I'll be like, all right, because I don't have a lot of McCarthy either. Because I'm not, and I'm a Michigan guy. If anything, I like Michigan. I'm not huge into college sports, but I do like Michigan. And I'm not a huge believer in McCarthy, so I don't know. But I like Hawkinson on the other hand, so it's going to be interesting. But football is almost here. Football is almost here. All right, so after that JSM pick, Brown went. Bo Nix after that, so that's a good little start there. The Genty, Brown, Nix, and Bowers combo. Higgins at the 4-2, Marv after that, JT at the 4-4, James Cook at the 4-5. I love the value on James Cook. Rice at the 4-6. Be interesting to see what happens with Rice. Yawning over here. Sorry, I just left the bar. um, Brees Hall at the 4-7. I love James Cook value at the 4-5. That's a solid pick. I wouldn't blame somebody taking him in the end of the third round. But that's good value, especially with the build that you got with those three stud wide receivers. So after Brees goes Tyreek Hill at the 4-8. After that, we got King of Kongs takes Justin Herbert at the 4-9. Alvin Kamara at the 4-10. It's an interesting build to have London Wilson Kamara as your RB1. What RBs do we got there? ADP wise, we got Walker, Herbert. Yeah, I might have took Walker over Kamara, but can't knock it. I'm scared with New Orleans. I'm staying away from pretty much all of them because, especially Kamara, because they have no problem shutting him down at the end of the season. So, and with that said, I'm just coming around now, because I've been saying this whole offseason, yeah, I'm not drafting Kamara. I'm not drafting Kamara. I will have 0 shares of Kamara. Um, just because New Orleans is not afraid to just sit him the end of the season. So, 2 weeks ago, I started thinking about it. I'm like, all right, well, why don't I grab the backup running back? So I've been grabbing Neal in a lot of leagues, couple, if he's there, late, even though he's injured now, but we'll see how it plays out. All right, so Walker off the board after that. 0 Saints, not worth it. Not worth it. Sometimes I'll grab that quarterbacks late because I really wait on quarterbacks. I usually grab like a Goff, something like that. Goff, Love, Dak, one of those QBs, and then I'll just wait to get like a Cam Ward because I'm high on Ridley. I got Ridley in a lot of leagues, so I'll just be like, all right, I'll get Ridley late and Cam Ward as a late QB, maybe a Rodgers, Gino, Darnold, those late quarterbacks and then Kamara got grabbed. Yeah, I take him. Well, you made the right pick. I took Walker over Kamara. Um, but yeah, so I don't know. I don't remember what I was saying. But yeah, so I wait on the quarterback. So I'll grab the Saints quarterbacks late, And besides, I think Rattler's going to be the quarterback there anyway. I think he's going to be a starter. So he's the second Saints quarterback off the board. So I'm content just waiting. All right. So after Kamara, we had Walker. McLaurin and DJ Moore as your 1-2 with the wide receivers. McMillan after that. Um, at the 5-3, we had Metcalf, then Chuba, then Devonta Adams, Henderson at the 5-6. Henderson jersey should be coming up soon too. We're gonna be doing that. Um, the Henderson jersey was the first one that I announced. We passed a few names that I have jerseys coming from them, big names, and I got some other shit that's gonna just blow people's minds. So it's gonna be a hectic month of August, but we're gonna have some really cool leagues coming. All right, so after that, Henderson was Travis Hunter at the 5-7. Uh, then James Conner. I'm loving that James Conner's going 5-8 now. I was getting him in like the 8th, 9th round a couple months ago. A lot of guys are like that. Him, Tyreek Hill moved up a lot. Um, McLaurin's starting to level out. I know last week he was fading, but I was all over McLaurin. But like months ago, a couple people. Um, I'm surprised Rice isn't falling yet, but we'll see. Keenan Allen's my most owned player probably. Nah, he definitely is. Not even probably. But all right. So after that Connor pick, Goff. See, look at that value with Goff there. Now you got Goff and Baker. That's a perfect 1-2 right there. That's not bad. All right. So after that Goff pick, Harvey, Devonta Smith, Sutton, Williams. Why? All right. After that, Williams, Worthy, Kyler, Laporta, and Purdy. Trevor Lawrence, perfect. Get that little stack there. Nice. And it's a double stack. Nice. Little double stack for J Mart. Yeah, that goes. All right. So after that little QB run right now, Drake May off the board after that. Caleb Williams after that. The 6'9" running backs are up. Stroud's there. Dak's still there. Um, Maybe you go QB. QB, maybe. I don't know. Unless you want to reach on another running back. See how it goes at the 6'10". We got Randy over here messaging in the group chat. So let's see what he's got saying. Yeah, we got a couple. We got a couple big jerseys coming. It's gonna be interesting. All right, so Hawkinson off the board after that. Pickens after that. Johnson followed by Zay. McLaurin, Moore, and Zay. I'm not high on Zay or DJ Moore. I do like McLaurin, but to each his own. Randall's really hitting it heavy with the wide receivers over there. Jeez. Nico, JSN, Higgins, Smith, and Worthy. All right, so after that, Zay pick was Dak. At the 7-2, what do we got? A little JJ action at the 7-2. Hmm. Probably would have waited on QB at that point. Yeah, so top QBs available on the board ADP wise. We got Stroud, Love, Fields, Penix, Ward, and Young. On the RB hand, we got Mixon and Judkins, who everybody's just fading anyway. Fields off the board. Monty, Pacheco, Swift, and Aaron Jones are all available. Uh, I don't mind me some Monty. I'd love me some Swift for sure. Wide receiver wise, we got Rome, Olave, Addison, Waddle, Judy, and Ridley. Love me some Ridley there. I'm starting to come around on Judy too. We'll see what happens with him. He killed it last year. Stroud at the 7-4. Tight ends, we got Kelsey, Warren, Andrews, Ingram. Love me some Ingram. Jonu Smith, and Loveland. Roma Dunze off the board. Yeah, and that's so far we got it rocking. See what people's teams come out looking like. All right. After that Rome pick was Jordan Love, pitter patter with the May Love combo. Mixing at the 7-7. Oh, this is the second running back. So he's got Gibbs and Mixon as his RBs. Tua off the board at 7-8. Monty at the 7-9. Sid, what are we going with? Sid, probably wide receiver, I would think. Yeah, probably wide receiver. Fresh off that, we got Monty. So you got a little Monty and Laporta action there to go with Goff. So that's solid. I like that direction. Monty slept on. I think his not his ADP, but his average fantasy points per game last year was like 15 point something. Ooh. It's a playoff league, so a league with playoffs. Maybe Addison's got some value. Um, I wouldn't be taking him right now though. I was faded. I don't. I might have like three shares of Addison. Excuse me. Might have like 3 or 4 shares of Addison. I'm out of 150 to 200 leagues. Pollard, on the other hand, that went at the 7-11. I have a lot of Pollard. Love me some Pollard. He went back with the Cam Ward. Um, that's a solid one too. At the 7-12 in the wraparound, Warren went and Ricky Pearsall. So that's a nice little 1-2. Pacheco at the 8-3, Swift at the 8-4. I'm taking Swift. I'm taking Swift over, honestly, over Johnson, over Mixon, over Monty, over Pollard, over Pacheco. So I think Swift's going to be that guy there. But we'll see. All right, 3 QBs now for this man over here with Penix. So Purdy, Tua, and Penix. Ridley off the board at the 8-6. Ridley at the 8-6. And now at the 8-7, what do we got? Olave at the 8-7. At the 8-6. Somebody's typing. Somebody's going to communicate with me. Nice. All right, at the 8-8. Yeah, the wide receivers fell a little crazy this draft. Randall stacked up on wide receivers. That's why. A couple people went really wide receiver heavy. Same thing with the quarterbacks. It's weird how the quarterbacks got taken in streaks. Look at that across the board right there. So we'll see. All right, so I guess I just got the alert that it's dislocated pinky finger for Anthony Richardson. So no timetable for return. It's fine. Uh, Daniel Jones is going to be that quarterback there anyway. That's another thing. I'll take both Colts quarterbacks late as fuck too, especially because they're both rushing QBs, so they get the points. They'll one of them's going to be the starter there. So fuck it, it's worth the dice roll late in the draft. Judkins at the 8-10, too rich for my blood. Waddle at the 8-11. ETN at the 8-12. I'm starting to come around on him. I'm hearing more reports on ETN, but I'm not going to be fully all in. Golden at the 9-1. Vanilla Fix going to ball out. Yeah, once. Um, I could see him doing decent, and just pounding the ball to Downs. Downs will be a PPR monster. We'll see what happens. Richardson's just how many chances. He's got so many chances, you just can't produce. All right, so Godwin at the 9-2. Yes, Downs' ADP is criminal. Especially if Jones is there. I don't think like if Richardson's starting, he's not gonna find Downs like that. But look what Daniel Jones did to like Wandell Robinson and shit. So he's gonna get his targets with Jones there. But we'll see. Speaking of Jones, Aaron Jones off the board at the 9-3. Fresh off that Judy pick. King of Kongs, what do we got? Warren. Warren's another player that I'm very high on this year. He's, I think, my top 3 owned player. Definitely my most owned running back is Warren. Um, but we'll see. All right, so fresh off that Samuel pick. Fresh off that Debo pick. Little Tracy action. I'm staying away from Trey. I'm having my running backs at this point. If not, I'll take Warren. I'm taking Brian Robinson over over Tracy. There you go. And there goes Brian Robinson. So Myers went at the 9-6, Robinson at the 9-7, uh, Andrews off the board at the 9-8. All right. And Kelsey. Okay, a little double tight end action with Kelsey and Laporta. Can't knock it. Cannot knock it. Um, Buka too. That's not a bad value at the 9-10, especially with Godwin being so questionable. We'll see what happens with that. Gino at the 9-11. Little wraparound from the 9-10 action. What do we got here? There goes Downs at the 9-12. And a little Bryce Young action. Young's value is not bad there at the 10th. You know, if you're waiting up for QBs, it's not a bad thing to do. Uh, little JK at the 10-2. Stafford after that, followed by Diggs. Love Diggs' value. That's another player that I feel like if he's on the field, he's going to get his targets, or he's going to bitch about it until he finally gets his targets. So you might as well draft him in the 10th round. Definitely a good pick there. Um, little Cam action at the 10-5. Evan Ingram at the 10-6. Love the value for that. Jennings to the 10-7. Not too high on Jennings. I like Jacoby Myers as a solid pick. Let me go back to the all thing. Here we go. Yeah, that QB run. I'm just looking back on the chat. Yeah, that QB run was serious. That QB run was serious. Ricky loves basketball. Shout out to you. I'm gonna be doing basketball leagues soon too. Definitely gonna try to incorporate a couple autographed basketball jersey leagues into the sleeper thing. So that should be cool. All right, Sam Darnold off the board at the 10-8 to go with Caleb Williams. At the 10-10, fresh off that Jones pick. What do we got here? All right, a little Dalton Kincaid. It's gonna be interesting. Kincaid was being drafted so high last year. Oh, a little tight end run now. Now we got the tight end run. Loveland, Kraft, Ferguson off the board after that. Shakir after that. Well, first wide receiver in a minute after 5 picks of tight ends. That QB run was crazy though. If you look at those 2 rounds. Mason. Okay, so you got the Mason Jones 1-2 combo. I think there's gonna be weeks where Mason has standalone value. Maybe more weeks than not. You know, I they brought Mason in there for a reason. All right, Rogers off the board at the 11-4, followed by Cooper Cup at the 11-5. Richardson at the 11-6. All right, at the 11-7, what do we got? Got 14 seconds. 13-12. All right. Higgins at the 11-7, followed by Goddard. Reed after that, followed by Russell Wilson. Fresh off that J.K. Dobbins. What do we got here, Pitta Pitta? You could. Why can't you watch it? If you I guess probably working or something. But that's never stopped me. I watch so many games at work. I don't miss a Monday night or a Thursday night football. Shit, even when I'm there on Sundays, sometimes I'm watching football. I'm watching Red Zone. All right, Pitts after that. Well, so, all right, so Benson Harris is great value at the 12-1. It's going to be interesting. I'm so high on Harris. I said I was high on Keenan. I thought he was going to go to the Steelers or a different team. I wasn't really expecting him to go to the Chargers. And I've also been high on Harris. So the drafting of the two of them together, but we'll see what happens, you know. After that was Bigsby, Pitts, Ayuk, and Charbonnet. Fresh off that Higgins pick, J Mart, what do we got? Little Ramondre action. Let's see. If the Ramondre Pittman went, the pitter patter. All right, let's go top. Yeah, QBs are pretty much all washed up. Zach Ertz at the 12-8. Uh, Najee off the board at the 12-9. ADP wise, running backs, we got Javonte Williams, Blue, Tutton, Ricard White, Garendo, Davis, a couple handcuffs, nothing too crazy. Like I love Austin Eckler's value late in drafts. Even White, I don't mind grabbing. Uh, ADP wise for the wide receivers, we got Mooney, Burton, Coleman, Shaheed, Mims, Kyle Williams, Smith, Likely, Faramuth, Henry, and Strange and Otten. I love Henry, Strange, and Otten. Those are my two guys. Well, three guys. Yeah, little Blue went off the board, followed by Williams. Bateman at the 13-1. Not bad value for him. We'll see what happens with Likely being out. I've I had Bateman in dynasty leagues where he's just burned me. Every couple of years, I'm like, oh yeah, he's gonna be great. He doesn't do shit. All right, 13 seconds left. Mr. Guru. Coleman off the board. All right, so you got a little Buffalo correlation over there. I see you. Mims off the board after that, the 13-3. Fresh off that Najee Harris pick. What do we got? All right, Shaheed after Mooney. I'm just reading. Somebody just invited me to another league. I'm about to probably join this one. Henry off the board at the 13-6. After that, Henry Williams. Fresh off that Charbonnet pick. Goes with Kirk. I don't mind that pick. I'm taking him in that area, Burton off the board. White off the board, followed by Strange at the 13-11. Tutton at the 13-12. All right, on that wraparound pick, what do we got? Betch after that, followed by Samson. Just got invited to this league. Let me just answer him back. Yeah, I wouldn't really. I don't know. I like Jerome Ford a little bit. If I go both of them, that's the only way I really get them. If I have a later pick, and I'll just bang it on a wraparound. All right. After that, there was a dart pick: Otten, Davis, Taylor, Likely off the board. So honestly, I don't mind Likely's pick because it is playoffs. It's a playoff league. Um, I don't know who knows how long he's going to be out for. He's an absolute monster. Yeah. Cleveland's going to be a run heavy team. So I don't know. I just usually this is the round where I'm taking my later tight ends. Everybody, these are all my bench tight ends. Like I'm taking Henry, Strange, Otten, Ertz if he's there, or I'm taking a handcuff. Usually, I have a like a day. Well, I'd be grabbing Davis because I would have a Cook. Um, a couple different handcuffs that you could take around here. Like Tyler Algier just went off the board, so that's a great for a handcuff. Eckler, great value there in the 15th. Yeah, no, for sure. No, the value's there. All right, so at the 14-8, Tillman went, then Smith, Wandell, Vanilla Vic, and followed by Algier, Eckler, Allen after that, Arroyo. At the 15-4, King of Kong's on the clock again. Noah Brown, Hollywood Brown off the board. I have a decent amount of Hollywood Brown too. I feel like he was very hyped up, then he didn't play, and the hype is not there no more. So we'll see what happens, especially with everything going on with Rice. But we'll see. And Brown's been a little banged up too. But all right, Okonkwo off the board at the 15-5. Love that pick. I'm high on Okonkwo for sure. I like grabbing those Tennessee guys late. You could get stacks, correlations all over. So I love Ridley. I like Pollard. I like Cam Ward, and I like Okonkwo. Borderline love Okonkwo at that value at the 15-5. But Garendo at the 15-6. Was that for a handcuff? Let's see. No. Nope. All right. Palmer went off the board at the 15-7, followed by Ford, McMillan. All right. At the 15-10, what do we got? A little Crom action. Douglas after that. I like the reports that Douglas is getting coming out of camp. Starting to come around on him a little more. I always fade. I try to fade New England's players. I don't know. Diggs is the only guy that I'm really all in on. Not all in, but he's the one that I really want if it's anybody because of his value. Flacco off the board at the 15-12. What do we got after that? On the wraparound. At the 16-1, he goes Quentin Stonehenge Johnson. Gasecki's good value there in the 16th. Not bad. Noah Fonson in there is kind of rough for Cincinnati, but we'll see how it goes, I love the Strange pick, though, for Randall. Fresh off that Crom pick at the 16-3. Royals, great RB. Not RB, rookie sleeper right there. Love me some Royals. Nick Chubb at the 16-4. Darren Waller at the 16-5. Fresh off that Palmer pick. 17 seconds left. At the 16-6, what do we got, J Mart? What do we got? 5 seconds. Sanders. So I'll probably go one more round and then I'll one or two more rounds and I'll do full team recaps. See how you guys did. Romeo Dobbs to 16-7. Fresh off that Okonkwo pick. Let's see. What do we got? 6 seconds. Five, four, three, two, one. All right, Radler. I seen Dowdle first, but Radler. All right, Pierce after that at the 16-9. Let's do a quick run through ADP wise who's there. Faramuth, don't mind him. Leggett, don't mind him. Not too high on him. Thielen, I like. Dowdle, I like. Roshan, Devin Neal, like those. Pat Bryant's good value. Kareem Hunt, decent, you know. WQDW. Yeah, you just got to make it fill out. I don't know. See. I don't do. I'm not. I'm all down for double tight end, but I don't take QB early. I might take one. If one of them falls in the first round, I'll take them. I'm not reaching for Hurts in the first round, but if I have the 110 and Burrows there, or maybe I'll roll the dice on him. Um, but I'm not. I'd rather, but I have no problem taking Bowers and McBride in the tight end premium league in the first and second round. Um, all right, so after that Pierce pick was Keenan, Schultz. Um, just really like the two QBs where I got them. Let's see. Let's give your team a quick gander, bro. Love it. I love that Baker and Goff. That's not even really too early, you know. Um, because what would you have done instead of Laporta? Maybe grab Pickens, But I wouldn't really. It's not too crazy, you know. Yeah, that's kind of rough. It's rough, but you got Diggs. So I like Ayuk too. I'm very high on Ayuk this year. So they're just blast wide receiver now. Shouldn't be too bad. All right. So we had Keen. Yeah, we did that. Hill, Lloyd, Roshan, Dowdle. I like. Thornton, Pat Bryant, Wright, Adam Thielen at the 17-8. After this round, I'll go through a couple teams, see where we're at. 10 seconds. This jersey's so sick. I love the Warren Moon jersey. It's definitely a good one. Leggett at the 17-9. Krosky, Shipley at the 17-12. We got Johnson. All right, I'll just go through ADP wise real quick, and then I'll go through teams. Uh, Quarterback, obviously, we got nothing there but handcuffs. Shador, if you're playing for playoffs. Neil Hunt, Giddens. It's just all pretty much handcuffs on there. Noel Hopkins. I like Austin. I like Lockett's value. Um, Roman Wilson, I don't mind. Horton, not bad. Tight end wise, not really too much of anything left. But all right, let's go run through these teams real quick, see where we're at. All right, so we're starting it off with WJW, one of the goats, one of the OGs, and we got Lamar off the board. So his two QBs are Lamar and Dak. That's solid. I love Dak, and the seventh round is fire, especially you got Lamar to start it off. Bucky and Jacobs as you're starting two running backs week in, week out. I'm not too high on Irving, but I also like White a lot, so that's why I'm not so high on Irving. ETN's good value, and I see you got Williams there at the bottom, so that's good value. Wide receiver wise, I love McLaurin. Moore and Flowers will have their weeks, so that's not horrible. Golden's there. Uh, Kraft and Ferguson are two great tight ends to get back in the later rounds. Definitely high upside players there. So it's not the greatest team I've seen you draft, honestly. If I'm gonna be honest, it's not the greatest team I've seen you draft, but it's a good team. It's definitely decent. Uh yeah, I don't know if I would have went. Yeah, a couple different things. Uh I like Pickens probably over Flowers, but either way, you can't knock it. All right, so Mr. Guru went Allen with the 1-2 and McCarthy with the 7-2. Like I said before, not too high on McCarthy, but gotta love Allen. McCarthy should be doing some stuff with his legs, so we'll see what happens with that. RB wise, you got Henry, Walker, Johnson, Blue. I love Blue's value there in the 12th. Johnson, I'm not. I'm a big Warren fan, so I'm very high on him. So I'm down on Johnson, I guess by association. But I love the Walker and the Henry pick. Like I said, at the 211, I definitely would have went Henry. AJ Brown went at the 3-2, followed by McMillan uh, as a second wide receiver. Waddle at the 8-11, Godwin at the. See, it's interesting how you did it with the wide receivers, but you can't even really knock it because there is potential there with Waddle and Godwin as a wide receiver three. So that's an interesting team build, but definitely not the worst. It's an interesting build, if anything. What Yeah, the tight ends are a little weak after Loveland, but all right. So what do we got? About to enter the 20th. All right, so the next one is Titanic. Oof. Um, we got Burrow was his first quarterback, and Fields. That's another good one too. Burrow and Fields. Fields is being slept on. He's gonna be moving. Who knows if he'll be throwing a lot, but we'll see. You got that stack of Wilson, so that's a good little 1-2 right there. Fields and Wilson. Other wide receivers, you got London, Metcalf, Pickens. So that's a solid four right there. I like that a lot. London, Wilson, Metcalf, Pickens. Like I said, I'm not too high on Kamara. I don't like how it's going to be at the end of the season. Jones, I'm not that high on, but you grabbed Mason right afterwards, so can't really knock it because you got the handcuff. Um, Kincaid as your tight end is hit and miss. Uh, Definitely not a strong point, but you waited till the 10th, so he's not a bad one to get in the 10th. King Kong's got gifted Jamar Chase at the 1-4 because the first three went quarterbacks. Um, so quarterback wise for you, you got Herbert, Stroud, and Rogers. You waited till the fourth to grab your first quarterback, which is great value, and you also paired that quarterback with Lad McConkey for the stack, which is great. That's a good 1-2 stack. Um, Not so high on McConkey this year like he was last year, but he's fallen in draft, so it's not bad value. Achian, I love him at the 2-9. To have Chuba at the 5-4 to pair with him as your second running back, not that bad. And you got Warren as your RB3, which I love. I love that. Your wide receiver threes, Jerry Judy. Uh, and then he really didn't go much after that. So, um, yeah, not you're definitely weaker in wide receiver. Hawkinson, I like a lot for tight end value. All right, so we got Crick Life Art. What do we got here? We got Daniels, Caleb, Darnold as his 1, 2, 3 quarterbacks. Um, like Daniels, obviously first round. I'm waiting on quarterbacks still at that point. I'd rather have Bijan uh, and set it off like that. Rather have like a Bijan Herbert type of thing, but whatever, it is what it is. All right, so you got those three QBs. Williams McCaffrey is a solid 1-2. If they're healthy and pounding the rock, they're going to be a solid 1-2. Tracy at the 9-5 as your RB3. Not so high on him, but he'll get his. Uh, Hill, Adams, Rome, and Debo as your, and then Cup as your five wide receivers. You found value in Cup. You found value in Debo. You're hoping you're shooting for the moon. Not bad best ball. Tight ends, you got Ertz late and then some more later on, but that's not definitely not bad value on Ertz. So, all right, we're gonna move over to Pitter Patter. He took Bijan at the 1-6. So QB wise, he's got May, Love, and Richardson. Um, I'm not too high on May, but he should get it done with his legs this year. We'll see what happens. So May and Love isn't bad value. Puka is your only wide receiver taken in the first 7 rounds. You waited till round 8 to grab Olave. So Puka, Olave, Myers, Jennings, Pittman. Uh, I love the Puka pick obviously because it's early, and I love the Myers pick. Alave's a dice throw, but it is what it is. I'm fading all Saints players. Jennings is good value at the 10-7, but I'm still not. I'm more of an Ayuk guy this year, so see what happens with that. J-Mart did very well. I remember his draft for sure. Mahomes and Lawrence as the 1-2. Got his stack with Hunter and Thomas, which is solid. Those QBs are going to be good. As long as everything rocks, they're going to be rocking. So Thomas Rice is like, who knows what's going to happen with that? Maybe 4 games, I'm thinking. Hunter, Ridley, and Higgins. Love Ridley for sure. Could be a league winner for me. RB wise, you got Gibbs. You waited and got Mixon. Mixon's a big question mark. I'm just staying away from him for now. You grab Brian Robinson, who I like in ninth. I think that's great value. Tight end wise, Evan Ingram is going to be a target monster. You grab him in the 10th round. That is great. Great value. Pretty good team. Could have used let's see what you could have did instead of Mixon. Let's see. Could have went Monty, could have went Swift. I remember saying that. I would have took could have went Pollard. Mixon's just scary at this point. Who knows? And if I'm taking Mixon, I'm grabbing Chubb late right after that next pick. All right, so on to the next one. Drafted from the 1-8. He went. This is a team that I like. Yes, I remember this. The 3 wide receivers: Lamb, Brown, and Evans. Huge. Then you grabbed your 2 starting running backs in Cook and Connor. Great value. Love Cook. Great value in the 4-5. Then you went with your 3 quarterbacks: Purdy, Tua, and Penix. Solid. Your 2 tight ends are Andrews and Goddard. Cam Scatterboo at the 10-5. Not really high on him. I'm staying away from the only Giants players that I really be in on is I have Tracy in 2 dynasty leagues, but it is what it is. I'm forced with them. But Neighbors obviously the only one. Sometimes, like I said, I'll wait on quarterback. I'll grab Russ if he's hanging out around there. Then I'll grab Dart. Um, that team's not bad. Definitely strong point is wide receivers and your starting position players is your strong point for sure. All right. Throw a Benson. What do we got here? Uh, I know he's weak on wide receiver. We just went over his team. All right. So Jefferson with the 1-9. Uh, not the I'm not a huge Jefferson guy, but I understand the value. He'll get his targets for sure. QB wise, Mayfield Goff. I love that one too. I feel like they're definitely undervalued at where they're being drafted. You also got that Detroit stack with Monty and Swift. So I like that. It's not that's that's not bad. To be able to complete a stack like that in the fifth round, fifth, sixth, and seventh is pretty solid. So you got the 2 good QBs, wide receivers at Jefferson, Diggs, and then it's a little shaky with Reed, Ayuk. You grabbed a couple more, um, so it's not too bad. Running back wise, you had Taylor, Monty, and Swift. I like that. The 3 running backs. I'm very high on Swift this year. I'm getting higher on Monty, and I like JT's value at the 4-4. Tight ends, you got 3 beast tight ends with McBride, Laporta, and Kelsey. This team's not bad. You were talking about like the depth. Yeah, the wide receivers aren't all that, but they could pop at any week. And ideally, you would have one of your running back and like you would have between your 3 running backs, you would want maybe one at your flex and then one of your tight ends at your flex would be ideal. But not a bad team. I like how it went. Sid went Barkley Neighbors 1-2. Solid 1-2. Barkley's a great pick. Um, QB wise, you got Murray, Stafford. I'm like, but Stafford's not bad. You waited late. Who knows what's gonna happen? I heard he got an injection, so we'll see what happens with that. Russ at the 11-10. Little shaky on the QBs, but wide receiver wise, you got Neighbors, Marv, Addison. I'm staying away from Addison at that point. I'm grabbing Ridley. Should have I probably would have grabbed Ridley there. Neighbors, Marvin Ridley to me is a lot better than Neighbors, Marvin Addison, but to each his own. Um, And Book is not bad. That's at the 9-10. It's pretty solid. Running back wise, you got Barkley, stud, Harvey, huge potential, huge upside. Pacheco being overdrafted last year. Hopefully, he finds that value that he had last year because he screwed me in a couple of leagues last year. But and then you got Kittle as your tight end. One tight end, solid, one and done till the later rounds. Kittle's a good guy for that. I like the team build. It's not bad. A little shaky towards the back end of the QB. Uh, I was gonna say maybe instead of Addison taking a QB, but I probably would have did Ridley as somebody there. But not a bad team. All right, so on to Randall's team. Let's just check, make sure everything's good. All right, and that's Jimmy Garoppolo off the board. All right, so we got Randall went Hurts at the 111, then waited and got Cam and Gino. That's solid. That's nice. Really hit the wide receivers heavy with Nico, JSN, Higgins, Smith, and Worthy. Love Nico, love Smith. Not so high on. Well, I love Nico, love JSN. I also love Devonta Smith. I'm not so high on Higgins. I do like Worthy. So that's 4 out of 5 of those wide receivers. I'm pretty high on. 3 of them I'm very high on. Running back wise, you got Pollard as your RB1. Spears as a handcuff. You got Dobbins squared up in the middle. Let's see if Bigsby, I like the value there. Yeah, I had to look back. Shipley's good, could have standalone value, even though it's your hand. No, it's not. Sid had Barkley. So that's a pretty good team, Randall. I like the team. I like the build. What was your tight end situation? Oh yeah, Strange or Gasecki. Banking a lot on Strange, but we'll see what happens. All right. So, last but not least, drafting out of the 112 spot, uh, Bo Nix and Young as your starting QBs. I like Young's value. I'm not too high on Young. He's not one of the later QBs that I'm drafting, but I like a lot of other QBs that are late, so I've just been staying away from Young. Bo Nix, I love him. We do have the Bo Nix jersey still up. There's, I think, 6 spots left in that, $35 a spot for the best ball. All right, so that was QBs. You got running back wide. We'll do wide receiver actually. You got Sutton to have a stack there. Williams, good value. Ricky Downs, I love his value in the ninth. So you made it happen with the wide receivers a little bit. Um, Running back wise, you got Genty, Brown, Benson. Uh, I like the Brown and the Genty pick. Not bad. Those should be week in and week out. Tight end wise, you got Bowers, who's a stud. You already know that, and Warren, who's supposed to, he's killing it. He's doing good. So we'll see what he carries into the season. So that's not a bad team either. It's definitely been an interesting draft. Where we at here? Let's see. It should be wrapping up pretty soon. Yep, one more round after that. So yeah, it's been a good draft. Almost an hour. Yep, about to be walking in on an hour right now. So flies by. Aiden O'Connell off the board. Tolbert. Um, Tyrod Taylor. So yeah, I'm gonna try to get another. Tomorrow's Friday. I'm probably gonna try to get a weekend fast draft going. We got the Bo Nix. We had the Bo Nix slow draft up right now. Once that gets filled, I'm gonna post another league. I got a lot of things coming. I got a lot of leagues that are gonna be coming. Some heavy hitters, some unique items. It's gonna be interesting. August is gonna be fun, and pretty soon I'm gonna be doing the weekly leagues. I'll be starting those. So no dominant team. This one, yeah, this one is wide open. I do agree with that. It's no team really stood out. I liked your team wasn't bad, but there was areas of your team that I didn't like. Same thing with Sid, same thing with Randall. Um, this is definitely going to be one to watch. Definitely for sure. So, Mac Jones off the board. Everybody's grabbing those handcuffs. Yeah, it's going to be a good. This is going to be a good league. It's going to be interesting. No team just fucking popped out to me like usual. A lot of good drafters. All right, two more picks. Yeah, I got. I don't want to say what I got coming because I was gonna. Usually, I'm like, oh, I got this, I got that coming, but I want to release one at a time and just be like, boom, I got this, I got this, I got this, I got this. So just know that it's coming. What everybody's been asking for is coming. So it'll be here within the next week. Um, all right, Perrine off the board. Last pick, Mr. Irrelevant. What do we got? Fresh off the Wilson and Quinn Ewers pick. I love that little back to back boom. Uh, let's see. And Taysom Hill. All right. All right. Sounds good. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll do it again soon. Yeah, real soon. Probably not tomorrow. If that Bo Nix fills up tonight, I'll make another draft for tomorrow. If not, we'll try to get one for Saturday or Sunday. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, have a good one. Enjoy your night.